Okay, we're going to walk through creating a multiple page site from CodePen and get it into GitHub. So the process is this. First, you're going to break out your pages. So here we have home page, about page, and portfolio in 3 separate pens. So each one of these 3 pens shares at the same style sheet. Okay. So let's do that. First, we have our index.css here, and we have our index.html. So first, let's make a style here. Body, and give it a color. All right, so the home page is going to turn gray, but the about page and the portfolio page are not going to turn gray. So what we need to do is share this single style sheet. Again, you should only have one style sheet that you're editing, because normalize already exists, and we're just going to inherit normalize, and then we're going to do all of our styling inside of index.css. So to do that, we're going to grab the path to this style sheet. So we're going to grab the URL, right? Everything before the question mark. Grab that path. As we saw in class, we simply append what type of file we want. So here's the path to the pen, but if we append .html, we get just the HTML, and if we append .css, we get just the CSS. So this is the path that we want. This is the style sheet that we want to share. So now that you have that, you can go to About, CSS Settings, paste that in there, hit Save, paste that into Portfolio, hit Save, and now the background should be gray on both Portfolio and About because they share the same style sheet. There should be no styling inside of the About page, so a good way to do this is just simply close it up. There should be no styling for Portfolio or any other pages. Just close that up. Okay, so now we can take a look at how would you uniquely style each one of these pages? How would you uniquely style About or Portfolio? Right, so this is why we learn specificity. So another way to do this is to break this up into sections. So this could be the About page, and this could be the Portfolio page. So if we go to the About page, we click on the gear icon, it gives us this option to add classes to our HTML. So we can add a class here of About to the About page. And the Portfolio, we can add a class of Portfolio to this page. And then once we have that, we can be more specific. So we go .about and then body, because it's added to the HTML. So if it was a higher specificity, it would be HTML .about, but that's not necessary. But so we can get rid of that. And let's make this one background orange. And the same thing here. Go .portfolio because it's in the HTML element. Again, it could look like that. Portfolio, and it has a child of body. And we can give this one a different color, background green. Okay, so if we can change the background color on the body, we can change everything inside of that. So now we go to this and refresh this page, and this page is indeed orange, and this page is indeed green. Okay. So again, we're only editing one style sheet. To recap, what we want to do is have a single style sheet where we make the change once and have it be reflected everywhere. So if we decided to adjust the margins or the padding on our body for all of our pages, we can just say here padding p tab gets 10em. Now we need to address the internal linking of pages. If we click on About or Portfolio, we'll see that the page cannot be found, which is true because the page doesn't exist. The pen does. But if we link to the pen, the user is going to get the code, and we don't want to give the users the code. We want to give them the result of the code. The same thing for Portfolio. Okay. Also, if we link out straight to the pen, we don't have version control. We lose all the benefits of having a GitHub account. So that said, let's go ahead and fix this. So make sure everything is saved, and then export your files. So we're not going to save as gist, we're not going to embed pen, we are going to export. So now I'm going to export in our home page, and we're assuming that our website does not exist right now on GitHub. Again, we're assuming the website does not exist and we're starting with a blank slate. So now what we need to do is extract our files. So we need to go to export zip, not gist or embed, and extract, download the home page. And then we can go into our Finder, find that file, and then rename it. So here I'm going to rename it our username.github.io. Okay. And if your Mac asks you, do you want to use the IO extension, just go ahead and hit add. Alright, so then we don't need our zipped file anymore, so we can get rid of that. Okay. Inside of what we just downloaded, right, is a license.txt and a readme.txt. Both are optional. You don't need them, but you can get rid of them if you like. And then inside of here is our style sheet and normalize, which we inherited. So now we need to go get the other files. So let's go do that. So let's go get about, export zip, and let's go find that file, and that should also be in our desktop. Okay. So to make this clear, I'm going to go ahead and open this thing up in another window. And alright, so right here is my EW Web Lab, and right here is the about. So I'm going to open up the about. Now the only thing we need from about, okay, is the index.html, because that's the only thing that we should be editing. But if we drop it into the root folder, the EW Web Lab, it's going to overwrite it. It's going to say, do you want to overwrite this? And we don't, so we're not going to do that. So all we need to do is simply rename this, okay, and rename it about.html. So here's our about.html, and we can put that there. And then we're going to wash, rinse, and repeat for portfolio. So the same thing here, export as zip, not as gist or pen, and run through the same process. So again, here's our root, and we're going to go find the files that we need. So we're finished with about. You can delete that. Go into portfolio, and again, the only thing we need is index.html, but if we drop this into here, we're going to get an error because it's going to say you're going to write over your existing index.html, which is your home page, and rename this thing portfolio.html and simply drop that into there. And now we're done with portfolio. Okay. And then now if we take a look at the site locally, so here I am, we're going to open it up locally. And let's see which browser it opens up in. So here I'm going to grab this local file and open it up, and we see that is indeed file, okay, not the remote path, the local path. And we click on about, there's our about page. We click on portfolio, here's our portfolio page, and our home page should bring us back to home page. Okay, so right now our website doesn't exist. Okay, so our username, ewweblab.github.io. Again, this is not our username, my username, excuse me. Yours is going to be your username.github.io. It does not exist. Okay, so once this runs, it's going to say error, page cannot be found. So we need to create this new repository. So I'm going to click, again, here's that error, page cannot be found. So now we're going to need to make that. So we're going to grab that. And again, GitHub says for you to have a website of your own, it has to be username.github.io, username.github.io, not anything else. So we're going to create a new repository, okay, and paste that in there as the username. It should be just the username.github.io, no HTTP, no www, no slashes. Okay, so in my awesome site. And then click initialize, click initialize, click initialize. Please don't forget to click initialize. Again, we should only have to do this once per quarter. All right, hit create repository. And there we go. And now we need to do is get our files up to GitHub. And then now we have this neat feature called upload files. And here we're just going to drag and drop the files that we need. So GitHub already has a folder, right, or a repository. Again, a repository is a special collection of files and folders already named username.github.io. And locally, we already have a special folder called username.github.io. So what we don't want to do is grab all this and drop it into there, because we don't want our folder to be inside of another folder. We just want the contents of a folder. So to do that, we're going to simply open it up and select all of our files and drop it into there. And this feature is so awesome, I cannot believe how we ever lived without it. And say yay. Let's do yay this way. All right. Then we can commit these changes. And in a few minutes, our site should be available. So hopefully quicker, hopefully sooner. And if I refresh the page, let our connection lag a little bit. Okay. And there it goes. We see that our site is indeed being loaded there. Load. And then we click on About. There it's just going to load our About page. And if we click on Portfolio, it's going to load our Portfolio page. I'm just going to open these in a new tab. The connection seems to be slow today. So there's About. Okay. And here's Portfolio. And so it is indeed working. And everything is remote on username.github.io. Next, we're going to take a look at how we deal with images for our site.